Happy Battlefield 6 reveal day. Friends, today we got our first look at Battlefield 6 via an in-engine trailer. We're breaking down what you need to know, what was showcased, and what's still to come. So drop your thoughts, drop a like, and make sure to subscribe for more Battlefield 6 and other FPS coverage, especially as we gear up for that multiplayer reveal next week, which will be live from that reveal event here on the channel. More on that in a bit. For now, let's get into it. So to preface, one of the biggest things to note is the disclaimer right up front: game engine footage, not actual gameplay. This is imperative to know because this is sequenced footage, not player controlled or driven for this trailer. That will of course be revealed in its entirety next week. Additionally, for copyright reasons, we won't have the trailer playing with audio, but the full link can be found in the description below if you guys want to see it, and it's just raw format without me breaking it down a little bit for you. The trailer, however, getting into that, as a generalization, sets up the narrative and the campaign for what we'll see with Battlefield 6. It starts with the president addressing the nation after what seems like to be a large-scale attack of some kind. Whether the address is taking place before, after, or during the events of the Brooklyn siege that we see throughout the trailer a couple of times, that's still undetermined. We do know, however, that after yesterday's teaser for PAX Armata, we know a bit more about them, our sort of bad guy faction here at this. Yesterday, it seemed like it would be a coalition of nations, kind of akin to NATO, an alliance of some sort, but with differing goals and views. But with the explicit mention of mercenaries when addressing the attack, it would appear it's kind of a PMC likely offering protection to those nations in a way that NATO may not be able to in the Battlefield world. Based off of this and yesterday's teaser, we see that multiple attacks have taken place, prominently in this sequence trailer in Dumbo, Brooklyn, which I think will make for some really compelling, intense combat sequences. Seeing the stair and room breaching before the helicopter falls into that home in Brooklyn is very reminiscent to me of Clean House from Modern Warfare 2019, and I mean that in a good way. It makes you anxious for what's around the corner, brings the stakes down to a realistic perspective, and I mean this again in a good way. There's a few sequences that really look akin to Modern Warfare 2019 in terms of like a blockbuster AAA shooter depicting a modern war. I think in terms of campaign, narrative, and visuals, gameplay decisions entirely aside, the Modern Warfare 2019 was one of the best visual productions and aesthetic from a campaign and launch perspective. Obviously, that changed a bit post-launch, but not nearly as much as the games recently have. So when I draw on that comparison, I mean it in a good way, but one other minor detail for this in terms of a generalized perspective of the narrative and the trailer itself, it's possible that I could be reading too far into it, but one of the things that I really liked out of this trailer was the mix of the classic Battlefield theme intertwined with Bob Dylan's Masters of War. Now, like I said, maybe it's reading too far into this, but Masters of War is a classic anti-war song, which, if chosen for a specific reason, narratively could indicate that maybe we have a scenario where we don't want war. Not necessarily just saying one or two nations, but like the world as a whole. But one group, this PAX Armata, could be something that's taking the entire world into war with it. It's possible they could be the aggressor that has no regard for anything but establishing control, pulling that world in one way or another, no matter the consequence. But again, it's possible it could be just chosen because great song, Bob Dylan, and classic. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, beyond that, we see multiple notable locations in this trailer in particular. A lot of stuff is seen where it's indistinguishable on where it would actually be, but some places that do stand out are Dumbo, Brooklyn, the mountains of Tajikistan, and Cairo in particular, where we do see things like the Brooklyn Bridge. We see the mountains of the one map already being tested in Battlefield Labs, and then Cairo being one of those things that we associate because we saw Cairo would be a map in the game files leaked a while ago. Plus, we see multiple sequences where we have the pyramids of Giza off in the distance. So geographically, it's all starting to line up with what we've seen beforehand. And also, notably, all of those were locations that were hit on with the previously leaked concept art a while back, but others, there are more concept art that we didn't quite see out of this trailer just yet. Los Angeles being a notable location as well. The one that also stands out to me is the compound where they have those PAX Armata forces. That to me was definitely one of the compounds that we saw soldiers descending upon in the desert, like a sort of stealth operation to infiltrate that we saw out of that key art. One other personal favorite of mine that I'm saying is a personal favorite just in a hopeful sense is the sequence with the subway cars. I mean, anybody else get Operation Metro flashbacks there? I mean, maybe it's me being way too optimistic, but we did also see the specific of mention of France in yesterday's PAX teaser, so like, maybe that'd be cool. Anyways, Levolution was, of course, shown off with this trailer as well, that being a classic staple of Battlefield at this point. One of the most notable from the recently leaked campaign footage was showcased in that trailer with the dam bursting, but I'm also particularly excited to see the destruction in a multiplayer sense. Like, yes, we talked about this was going to be a campaign trailer and the sort of narrative and setting of Battlefield 6, but I'd love to see what transfers over from this into a multiplayer perspective as well, seeing the destructibility of the bigger set pieces in play. With the Brooklyn Bridge getting hit in this trailer, perhaps that's a playable space that you can sever in multiplayer, cutting off a key line of getting from point A to point B. Maybe we also see that happen. We also see multiple larger buildings topple, so it's gonna be nice to see this again, no matter what, I think. Other than that, big fan of the trailer quality in general. Obviously in-engine footage and not real-time renderings, but there are multiple beautiful sequences in this trailer. One thing that I really liked was around the 40-second mark when they're locking and loading, as their promotional tweet would say, but the sniper brings his rifle up to aim and you see the reflection of the world beyond in the scope. Obviously, it's not going to be that tight on details in the real game when you're actually playing, but things like that are definitely just like a brilliant touch in my opinion, and are a nice thing to see here for this. Overall opinion, I really liked the trailer. I think that whether you like the games or not, Battlefield has always been top tier with trailers. Call of Duty kind of being the same way as well, that they just absolutely nail them every single time. They're great hype generators, I think. But I also do think that coming out of that statement, it's a good idea to set up realistic expectations and feelings about this trailer in particular. Know that it's a narrative trailer without any gameplay, so it's good for a reveal, but take it at face value. We're not too far away from seeing a more realistic version of what you'll be able to play for yourself on PC or consoles whenever the game may end up launching. So use this as your benchmark if it piques your interest or not, but know the bigger stuff is still coming. And speaking of that, notably, it does not give a specific date for a launch just yet either, which is kind of curious. I figured this would have given us a release date and something to build up towards, but maybe that's something revealed as of next week. Maybe it's something they still don't necessarily release it, and they are still having that window of fall to spring of next year that they could fall back on. So we'll have to wait and see. One thing notably, though, is that even from EA's own promotional sort of mention, and then they've rescinded this to kind of cover their tracks, they even mentioned October 10th as a backstop for some stuff. So October 10th was that previously rumored release date for Battlefield 6. So I'd keep an eye on that date, though of course it's not necessarily confirmed just yet. Now, finally, what's next? Well, the multiplayer reveal, just 1 week away from today. What to expect? Admittedly, I was a bit surprised that there wasn't any sort of stinger ending being like, check out what's coming next week, and instead was just the announcement of the event that would give us any indication of like, hey, we're gonna see multiplayer, obviously. Maybe we'll see Battle Royale, but it's one of those things that I'd be curious at this point if we do see Battle Royale, because I feel like they would have teased something if we'd be seeing that revealed as of next week. That's just purely speculation and one of those things that we'll have to wait and see, but it's definitely interesting, I think. But we will see a lot of the stuff for multiplayer and what is shown off there, and as mentioned at the beginning of this video, I will be there, live streaming here on YouTube and with a ton of content to follow. So if you want to see the raw just take on the gameplay and everything that will come along with it, and what will likely be available to play in a beta probably shortly after if all reports are accurate on what we've seen so far, you'll be able to check it out right here on the channel, and of course all the content to follow. So would love to have you guys around for that. Make sure you subscribe if you guys want to check that out. But anyways, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Multiplayer reveal 1 week from today, live here on the channel, a bunch of other stuff to follow, and of course this is what we had now revealing Battlefield 6 to the world. So drop your thoughts down below, drop a like if you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe for more Battlefield 6, especially again as we gear up for that multiplayer reveal next week. Would love to have you in the community, but for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. See you later, take care, and peace.